Hey all, it is Elizabeth Off Grid. One thing I wanted to talk about is hobbies. One wonderful side effect of living in a car is actually I have more free time. I don't know, I guess, I'm not cleaning the bathroom or the kitchen. There's a whole lot of things that I don't do anymore because I'm not living in a house or an apartment and I'm kind of self-contained. I have a much more simple life. I have so many fewer things to take care of. And because of that, I actually have time to do more hobbies. I've always been the kind of person who does tons and tons of hobbies. And, people sometimes will ask you, and I'll even I'll be filling out a form or something like that. And they're like, what are your interests? What are your hobbies? And for a long time, I had a hard time answering that because I always have so many and they change so often. But what I've realized is that my hobby is learning, exploring, growing, learning new skills, new information, going to new places. And so all of my hobbies, like travel and hiking, like language learning, like taking classes, like learning new skills, like learning to knit, they all go under this category of learning and growing and exploring. So how do I actually do that while living in a car? A lot of ways it's actually easy because it's easier for me to travel now. It's easier for me to go hiking because I'm already underway, right? And then also I'm always doing new things with learning. Like I have apps that I'm learning from. I'm taking classes. I'm listening to audiobooks. I'm listening to lectures. There's so many things you can do that are either free or incredibly low cost to learn new stuff. Specifically right now, my big things that I'm doing is I listen to lectures on Audible, and they're not actually, some of them are audiobooks and some of them are lecture series. And I think it's from the Learning Company. I can't remember. And then I'm also taking classes at community college. The classes are all online classes. Some of them have Zoom calls, and then some of them are just like classes. Here in California, if you don't have a degree, tuition is free at community college. If you already have a degree, then it's still very, very low cost. It's like, $100 or something for a class. It depends on how many credit hours the class is. So very, very inexpensive. It's actually cheaper to take community college classes than it is to do something through Coursera or something. Because if Coursera, you can't audit some of their classes for free, but a lot of them you can't anymore. And you have to pay $49 a month. Well, $49 a month, you better get that thing done in a month because otherwise it'd be cheaper for you to take community college. It's going to take you 3 or 4 months. And it really takes that long to really take a class and digest it. So what do I use for these things? Obviously, my phone I use for it, my laptop, which is where is it? Right here. I also have an iPad that actually is very handy. And then I have a new thing. This is actually the sponsor of this video, which is this speaker that they sent me to test out and review and share with y'all. So this is a speaker from BenQ treVolo U Bluetooth speaker. That's the name of it. And they're a company from Taiwan. And this speaker is actually meant not for music, even though it can play music and has a music setting. It's actually meant for the spoken word. It's meant for human voices. So this is meant for podcasts, audiobooks, classes that you're taking, Zoom calls. It has both a mic and a speaker, so you can actually use it for two-way communication as well. And the thing is, I'm not really an audiophile kind of person, so I didn't even have a Bluetooth speaker yet. I have used them in the past, and I kind of had a really junky one that cost less than $20 and it was not very good. And so I just didn't bother with it. And I was just using my phone speakers and my laptop speakers, and they are not good. My car is so old that I can't play audiobooks and stuff out of my speakers. I can play music sort of, and it's very, very awkward. The car doesn't know that it's going to be hooked up to a smartphone because it didn't know smartphones existed. It thinks it's going to be hooked up to an MP3 player. And so it just can't process using an app or anything like that. My speakers in my car are actually pretty good. They're especially for music, but my car is just too old. The interface doesn't work. So what I'm planning to do today is I actually have a fairly terrible mess back there, and not that terrible actually. I'm going to clean up the inside of this car while listening to an audiobook on Audible using my new speaker. So one of the things I actually really like about this is the bottom is kind of it has a lot of friction to it. It's like a soft surface. So when you put it somewhere, it's not going to slide down. I wouldn't have it on there when I'm driving. I would then put it down somewhere low so it doesn't going to fall off or anything. One of the things they actually wanted to make sure that I told you that I'm going to say right now so I don't forget is that you don't want to leave this on your dash in the heat, in direct sunlight. think of this like you would a phone or a laptop or a tablet or whatever. It can't be, you can't be in Arizona on 110 degrees and you have this on your dash. It's going to break it. Okay. It is a sensitive device. This is also pretty heavy. I mean, this is not some junky thing. Now, there are other Bluetooth speakers that are more robust for like sports, you know what I mean? Ones that you can use while skiing or that are for outside. This is really for inside your car, inside your camper, inside your house. This isn't like, you could have this outside if there's no weather or dust or anything like that, but I wouldn't use it for that kind of a situation. Okay, so I'm going to show you how I hook this up to my phone. There's actually two different ways you can hook this up. One is it actually has, where is it at? It has a cord where you can hook this up just like you would your headphones. So a headphone jack, and that can hook up to my laptop that way, which is nice. So you're not wasting battery power of your device or this running the Bluetooth. However, it also is Bluetooth, and that's kind of like how they're, I think, designing it. So I have Bluetooth on my phone already, and now I'm going to turn this on, and you have to hold it down. And it plays a cute little noise. And then you're going to hold down this, and it's blinking. And then I push, connect it over here, and then hopefully it'll work. Yay, then it worked, and now noise came out here. So let's see how this goes. I actually have already tested this, don't get me wrong, and used it, but where is there it is, my Audible app. And I'm going to show you what it's like and how nice it sounds. So this is a book by Bill Bryson, A Short History of Nearly Everything. I'm on chapter 18. This guy has a really low voice. And so before I was listening for it out of this, which sounded terrible, but now you'll hear what it sounds like here.
Types as mussels and clams, which are hardly known as great travelers. It is now thought that the larvae of certain organisms may drift through the water until, by some unknown chemical means, they detect that they have arrived at a food.
I'm just stopping it for a second. So this has a number of different settings that you can use that will detect the ambient noise and then put it at the right volume for you. And then you could also do all your own settings. I'm so not the kind of person who's going to go in through a zillion settings, but it also has an app. The app is really important to change the settings on this. You don't have to use the app for most things. And you actually don't even update the firmware using the app. You update the firmware using your computer, which I was able to do using a Mac. You don't have to have a PC, because that's an issue, because sometimes that happens. But anyway, this will tell you what your battery percentage is, which is actually helpful information to have. And then you can also use this safe volume thing where it gives the right volume for your ambient. Now, my ambient is I'm in a park and it's really quiet, so it's not going to be that
Safe volume is on.
Safe volume is on. So it's going to find the right volume.
Safe volume is done.
For this space. You can make your own sound profiles, which I really haven't done. And you can also change some of the settings. So for example, I changed the language to being English. When I got this, it was in Chinese. And you can also change, it has a sleep mode and all kinds of other things that I really am not super interested in using because it's not my thing. But that is the app. So I'm going to go ahead and just listen to this while I'm cleaning the back of my car up, because you can see this horrible mess, and then that way I am entertained.
Food opportunity and fall onto it. So why, if the seas are so vast, do we so easily overtax them? Well, to begin with, Ruffy are extremely long-lived and slow maturing. Some may be 150 years old. Any Ruffy you have eaten may well have been born when Victoria was queen.
Oh my God.
Ruffy have adopted.
All right, we're going to see how much better the speaker is from my phone. Okay, so you heard that. Okay, now.
In commercial terms, the cod were extinct. Fishermen, wrote Mark Kolansky in his fascinating history, Cod, had caught them all.
Yeah, it is a huge difference having an actual real speaker. So I'm going to be using the microphone for a Zoom call, and as well as the speaker, obviously. And we're going to see how much better it is for that. That is using the speaker for a audio lecture that is on Audible. And I actually will, by the way, I'm going to have links for this, which you can buy from Amazon. And it will be an affiliate link for me, but you could obviously just Google it if you don't want to give me some of the money instead of Amazon. And I also will link to Audible stuff for y'all too. I think Audible is a great way to get a whole bunch of content to listen to while you're driving, while you're doing stuff. I personally am not as much of a podcast person as I am an audiobook lecture person. That mostly because I love how I can have an audiobook that's going to have like 50 hours of content, and I can use it for an entire trip. And I love that. I like to go really deep into something. Obviously, you can do that with podcasts, but I don't want to just listen to like 20 minutes of a podcast and then have to wait a whole week. I don't know. I like to binge, right? And audiobooks and lecture series that are already completely finished is a great way to binge. So on here, the stuff that I have in my library is I have A Short History of Nearly Everything, Genghis Khan, and the Making of the Modern World. I have a bunch of stuff from the Great Courses. So History of the Ancient World, The African Experience from Lucy to Mandela, which is kind of an interesting idea. The Great Trials of World History, History of the United States, Skeptic's Guide to World History, Born Standing Up by Steve Martin. I think I already listened to that one. I have, a bunch of other, like Not My Father's Son, Alan Cummings' memoir. Yeah, so a whole bunch of, it tends to be either memoirs, lecture series, or books about history or sciencey stuff. Tends to be what I've been listening to lately. The two I've downloaded is A Short History of Nearly Everything and the Genghis Khan. So interesting learning about Genghis Khan. Someone you just touch on a lot of times when you're learning about world history here in the United States. But wow, this person, incredibly innovative. Obviously ruthless, but so innovative for Mongol society. And the things that he did, like they had pensions for people who had fought and were retiring, that their wives and children would get benefits if they were killed. This is incredibly modern thinking for warfare for way back in the day. Okay, I'm going to finish doing this, and then I will be back later today for the Zoom call. So one thing that I'm going to give them feedback about is it doesn't have like a bag. So it has like this little bag that comes with it that's like to keep it from getting scratched. And I've actually been putting it in here, which is not I'm really supposed to do. I'm sure I have a bag somewhere in my storage that I can put the speaker in, but this is like a nice speaker. I would want something that, so it doesn't going to get scratched up in my car, when I stick it in my bag, or I'm probably going to stick it in my junk basket. And so I want a cover or a case for it. Now I have a number of other things that I actually need a case for, and I may get one case to put them all in. I don't know. It'd probably be better to have a hard case for this, but I'd have to get one that actually fits it. And because of the shape of it, I don't know what it will be. So I'll probably just get some kind of a nice bag to put it in. But that is something that it doesn't really have a case for it. It does come with the cord to plug it in. It actually comes with an actual plug, which is good. So USB-C to USB-A. So USB-C plugs into here, but it doesn't USB-C out. My hypothesis is because it actually wants you to slow charge it. They said it takes 3 hours to get to 85%. I plugged it in. I don't actually know how long it took to get to that. Updating the firmware is a bit awkward because you have to use a computer. You cannot use a phone to do it, but it wasn't a hard thing to do. It's like old fashioned firmware updating where you have to download a file and then it does the whole updating thing. You can't do it through your phone. And it also has, as I said, the plug to plug it in so you don't have to use Bluetooth, which I think is very helpful, especially if you have something that doesn't have Bluetooth or you don't want to use the battery up for that. Hey, I have another piece of information about the speaker. I was on just the phone with someone and used the speaker with that. And so as a speaker, it sounded great on my end. The microphone, there's something interesting to know about the mic is that it is like picking up everything from every direction. So the birds and like the ambient noise here was really loud. It's not like a one directional microphone, so it's not just picking up your voice, it's picking up everything around there. So that may not be good in certain situations. There might be a setting to fix it, but I could not figure out any setting, because the setting that helps cancel the sound for the speaker does not do anything for the mic that I could tell. So maybe there's a setting, and I'll let you know if I find anything.
Listen to them again, and then listen, and I'll catch the answer at some point. So it's just time. It's just time to put in to use the resources that I've given you, which I had to do a lot of work to find those videos.
So I was just taking a quiz. It's like 7:30 in the morning. I was just taking a quiz and an exam for one of my classes I'm taking at community college. So one of the things is, since I'm taking community college classes online and I'm fitting it in my life, it is like I will be doing a Zoom call at night for our class. I will be doing reading stuff and watching videos for my classes and taking quizzes and exams at all kinds of different times of the day. But I kind of view this more as a hobby than school, because I'm taking classes that I'm interested in. To let you know what I'm taking a class in Islam. So I started taking that class before the recent events with Israel and Hamas and what have you. But I guess that stuff has always been going on, so it's always very relevant. I'm taking a class in historical geology. So that's about like, what do all the layers in the Grand Canyon actually mean? What is happening and how you identify all that stuff is super, super interesting to me. And even just learning to identify rocks and stuff. I'm also taking an anthropology class, a physical anthropology class, which in some schools is called biological anthropology. So that's actually very similar, except it is the history of how primates and human beings came to be. And so there's kind of different parts of anthropology. One part is archaeology, one part is cultural anthropology, one part is linguistic anthropology. Actually, I'm interested in all these things, but right now I'm taking the class on biological physical anthropology. So it's our, the physical biological component of our existence, why we do the things we do. So super, super interesting. It's great to be able to take this class online. It's also super cheap. Taking community college classes in California, super cheap. Generally speaking, community college classes are much less expensive than regular school, but in California, it is excellent. So after this, I'm going to be going to the park, and I'm going to be doing work first I'm going to do something for my Islam class, and then I'm going to be going and doing all kinds of work for this channel, including video editing and what have you, as well as just checking my email for my law firm. So I'm always kind of balancing things, balancing doing work with doing hobbies and kind of integrating things in my life. And I've been like that for a long time because I've been self-employed for such a long time. I'm 19 years, so almost 20 years that I've had my own businesses. And really there's many, many reasons I did that. But one of them is to kind of have more of an integrated life. It works very well for me. Having your own business is not for everybody. Don't get me wrong. Some people, you have to have a lot of self-starting, and you have to be able to organize things. You have to be able to roll with the fact that you're going to have a lot of ups and downs in income. And for the kind of businesses I have, I work by myself. I have had employees. I've even had 5 employees, but I don't have any. So I have clients and stuff, so I'm not alone all the time, but I'm alone in person. I'm not doing work with a team. But for some people they would hate that. That'd be very sad for them, and they want to be part of a team. So it is not something that's for everyone. Obviously, you could start a business with other people. That introduces a lot of complexity and even some risk into it. Actually, people think that it's more risky to start a business by yourself, but the nice part about business by yourself is you're the only one making decisions. So if you screw it up, it's just you, right? and you're the one who made that decision or having to deal with the responsibility of it, it really sucks to have to be responsible and feel the repercussions of someone else making a bad decision. It's one of the things that can happen to you when you have a regular job. All right, I'm going to take my vitamins and allergy meds and head to the park. Again, this is Elizabeth Off Grid. I've been talking about hobbies and interests and keeping yourself busy and amused while you're living in a car. If you're interested in checking out the treVolo U speaker, then there's a link to the Amazon page down below. It is one of my affiliate links. Obviously, you don't have to use that to buy it, but then instead of Amazon keeping some of the money goes to me. It's a very tiny amount, but it's a little bit, and every little bit helps, right? So if you have anything you want to share about your hobbies or interests, if you're living in a vehicle or generally anywhere that you're doing, share them below in the comments, or you can just say hi, thumbs up on this video, subscribe if you'd like to follow along. I'll talk to you later. Bye-bye.